mic and we want to use this mic.
Oh.
So we've been offline.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Sorry about that.
So at least you got part of that. Excellent. You were my audience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine now.
For that 15 minutes or so.
Jeez. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Wait, no. I need to cross part to find out what time is coming, so we can give more time to Mr. Fortune. We cannot do this.
Yeah.
No.
You guys owe me. You
Just-
guys owe me. I'm ticking all the boxes now.
Oh my god.
Ticking all the boxes.
Yeah.
I'm ticking all the boxes, Cindy.
What boxes?
I'll let you know.
Oh my
I'll let you
god.
know.
No, we
So what are we waiting for now?
well, we will be back shortly to
Oh, to disappear.
disappear. Yo,
Alright.
fam! Yo! Wow! 5 years later. Today is definitely a Monday on a Tuesday. I don't know what's happening. It's the last day of the festival, and we were on mute the
Whole time.
whole time.
Yeah.
Just Mr. Fortune is joining us today, sharing his entrepreneurial journey. I heard all of it. If I could take all of that I heard, you would be inspired.
Okay.
You would really be inspired. Please take it away again, sir. Second, third, fourth, fifth time lucky. Our apologies.
Yeah. Look, I think it's kind of a case in point. So just like what happened now, I think for me, this is one of the things that you need to also kind of pay attention to. So there will be instances where you feel like, okay, I've done this, I've done that, and I feel like it's working out, and then something just doesn't pan out, and that should also allow you not to feel discouraged. So yeah, for the viewers out there, my name is Fortune Nosi, and I am the founder of Nosi Beam. Nosi Beam is a solar energy products and solutions company. Our primary function as of now is we are doing solar panel installations for residential market, commercial, and industrial. We also have special projects. If you need a renewable energy source in solar for specific, whether it's PV farms or any large scale, even community projects, we definitely cater for that. So today I'm just going to be sharing a bit on myself, my journey, and Nosi Beam, So coming back to the technical difficulty that we had, I think the main ingredient of entrepreneurship is resilience. You will get knocked down a few times. There will be a challenging situations here and there, but you just need to be resilient. I think in my entrepreneurial journey, so I started off with learnerships. So these learnerships helped me to kind of bridge the gap between what I didn't know and what I know now. So I mentioned to Cindy earlier that, and throughout my high school career, I never really pictured myself going down the line of entrepreneurship. For me, it was just finish school, go to Tivet College, study mechanical, do an N6, and then after that, go to varsity, do a mechatronics course. After that, get hired, be an engineer in some company. So that's how I envisaged that I would have been changing the world. But, things didn't really pan out that way. And a part of me is really grateful for that because of the impact that I can now create, and the kind of influence, changing of destinies. And, we always think that life has one kind of stream of thoughts. But now you need to also be open to the various changes in your life, because things will happen. You will maybe some week find out that your family is relocating to this area, or there's a school change. All of these things just kind of add on to your journey. You just need to know how to embrace them. Don't fight the change. Just rather embrace the change and flow with it, because with change comes greater opportunities, you just need to be able to fit in line with that. So yeah, going back to my entrepreneurial journey. So for me, it really started off with a learnership um, called New Venture Creation, and that's a CETA accredited NQF level 2. So I think that's equivalent to about matric or grade 11, if I'm not mistaken. So it's essentially just a educational qualification that you get that starts you off in the business and entrepreneurial journey, gives you the very basics: how to start a business, what to look out for, marketing, communication, um, invoicing, quotations, just all of the basic things that you're going to need to start off with. And I think for me, that was really a great springboard. And another reason why I really appreciate being in this hub, in this incubation, is that entrepreneurship also started for me in an incubation. So one of the requirements for the NQF level 2 qualification was that you needed to have like some sort of office space or operational space, of which I didn't have at the time. And fortunate enough for me is that I had this gentleman in the same class, and he was like, "Look, Fortune, I know you don't necessarily have an office space, but I know this incubation, um, and just go try out and apply, and see what happens." So I should also mention this: my original background didn't stem from solar energy. It comes from real estate, and that's what my mom was doing. That's what my kind of family was busy with. So So I was also mentioning earlier that the biggest factors that influence my entrepreneurial journey, number one is God, and the other is my mom. And those two aspects have played a very great vital role. You need to know where you find your source of strength in this journey, especially in entrepreneurship. Because being honest, it is challenging, it is tough, but it is the most rewarding work that you will ever do. And maybe just to also mention, I always say this to my friends, is that look, um, I can be inspiring. You can look at what I'm doing and see the fruits of my work and the fruits of my labor. But as much as I can inspire you and give you a working plan, if you haven't made that decision to say that, look, okay, I want to get into entrepreneurship, I want to do this, then it won't work out. I can give you a foolproof plan, but if you haven't made that personal, conscious decision that I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to go into the business world, then it's going to be very tough because entrepreneurship is challenging. There will be those fluctuations, unpredictabilities. There will be months where you don't have an income. There will be months where you have to pivot from your original idea or kind of business to another one just for you to be able to survive and hashtag thrive, But for me, that's where it started. So here I was in this incubation, and mind you, they only took in MICT based sectors. So that's media, information, and communication technologies. So I was outside of that spectrum. I had a real estate qualification at that time, working on my new venture creation. But I pitched up at that interview and I sold them who I am. Oh, another thing in entrepreneurship, people will always buy you first before they buy your business or product or whatever it is that you're selling. So whenever you walk into a room, just make sure that you are presentable and you exude that confidence, And I know that there's a lot of people who say, but I'm shy and, I'm not really outspoken. Practice, 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 practice. Put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. Put yourself in those stuttering moments. It's okay, but just go for it, because that's how you gain opportunities, So yeah, back to the track. So I did that, right? I presented, and they were like, okay, look, we're giving you a week to see how you can fall in line with what we actually are doing in this incubation. And I was like, okay, fine, that's all right. So in that week, by the grace of God, I just decided, all right, I'm going to start designing logos. So mind you, look at the opportunities that are within you right now, around you. So I was in a new venture creation class. I had about 30, 40 colleagues in there with me who are all starting new businesses. So of course, when you start a new business, you gotta have branding and logo. So I just saw that, and I didn't know anything about that. So what did I do? I went to the University of YouTube and I searched some design courses, and fortunately, I fell across a kind of design platform where they taught you how to work on Adobe Illustrator, and I think that's for me is like the benchmark of logo designing and vector creation. So that was my springboard. So I think I did that for a good 2 months. After that, now this is where the origin story of Nosy Beam comes in. So after that, whilst I was still placed in the incubation, there was a seed fund call. So essentially, for those that are not sure, a seed fund is a grant fund that enables you to create a new idea, a new prototype, a new offering or product. So in that incubation, they had that. And the incubation manager came up to me and she was like, okay, look, I want you to apply for this. Just take your time. I'm giving you a week. Oh, another thing, deadlines. You will get crazy deadlines that you need to meet. But yeah, it's part of the journey as well. So I was given a week, and I think on a weekend, I was sitting at my desk, and so while I was in this phase in my life, I was actually living in a village called Murchison in Potchefstroom. So a humble beginning, guys. Never be afraid of humble beginnings. Do not be afraid of those. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that you are able to start from humble beginnings and work your way up. So yes, I was sitting at my desk at a weekend, and for me, my biggest concern was that we used to have like electricity spikes, right? So there would be electricity one weekend and then the next that are not. So as a person who's always on a mobile device, this kind of impacted me a lot. And power banks, I mean, they have their lifespan. You need to recharge those as well. So I was sitting and I was like, okay, look, there needs to be a solution for this. So I just kind of did the roundabout on Google, and yeah, I saw this fascinating thing called solar energy. I had never encountered it before. It was my first experience, and I was like, okay, this is amazing. What is this about? Okay, you get solar panels that create electricity from silicon that is converted into crystalline, and that creates a reaction from photons to create actual, electrical currents. So it was just like, wow, it was really interesting. Yeah, so that gave me kind of an idea to, okay, you know what? Why don't we try take a solar panel and see how it can fit into like your smartphone, right? So I had like pen to paper and I sketched out like a phone cover, and I just literally put a solar panel at the back of that. So coming back to my presentation and proposal, I put that together, did a nice presentation, and it was about, I think, 5 slides. Yeah, it was about 5 slides talking to what this is about, and kind of just trying to get the idea that's in my mind to the next person. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are trying to do as entrepreneurs, as innovators, trying to take something and take it from the thought, the realm of thought to actual physical and tangible products. So yeah, I put this into play. I presented it the week after, and they were like, "Look, this sounds really great. Come for the final presentation." And I was like, "Okay, great. We're going into this." So I remember it was a weekend. I was doing some research on local hardwares, local solar panel suppliers, but nobody had a scale to the size of like your smartphone, right? So I was like, okay, that's gonna be a bit of a challenge, but I knew that I had to come to that pitch with an actual tangible product. No matter how rough it is, just always make sure if you've got a pitch or presentation that you have been invited to, always make sure to have some sort of demo. Doesn't matter if it's cardbox, or whatever material, but just make sure to have a demo, because there's just something about when people see the effort that you've put into trying to bring this to life, that captures them. So I did that, and I remember I was in the local mall, and I went to a trains and hobbies store. They sell like remote control airplanes and cars and all of that fun stuff. So I went in there and I just looked around in the shop, and again, I just found this train set that literally had a small solar panel. Honestly, I just chucked the train set away and I took the solar panel because that's all I needed anyway. So yeah, here I was. I took that. I literally slapped it at the back of the phone cover, cut a hole through it, and connected the terminals of the panel to the actual. At the time, it was mostly, I think it's micro USB that people were using, not like lightning connectors with the iPhone.
Yeah, just like the technical jargon.
Yeah. So
the
I just did
C-type.
that. I
And the
just
beta.
did that. Yeah, we've come a long way. So yeah, I did that, and I went to the pitch. I went to the presentation. I was like, look, guys, this is my rough prototype. This is what I want to do. And they were like, look, we're happy with this. We're willing to fund you, and let's get started on it. And that was the birth of NoCB, and literally that. So from then till this point, I mentioned something earlier that you need to be malleable and you need to adjust to the circumstances that are brought in your life. So I took this all the way, and I took this prototype to a much neater, actually, molded, did the whole molding and made it look more presentable. And I took that to the final process. But there was another opportunity that I had, a program called Leaf.
Leaf.
Yeah.
Okay, Xembe.
Yes, but LIF. So it was called Leaders in Fellowship.
Oh, Leaf.
Yeah.
Acronyms. Excuse.
Yeah.
I'm like Xembe. No. My apologies.
But at least it's somewhere along those lines.
Growth. Green is for growth.
There we go. That's it. See, adaptability. There we go. That's it. I took my product and I presented it to this panel of international innovators, funders, equity managers, and the likes. And I was told that, look, this is not feasible. It's not going to work. Technologically wise, the tech level at that point in time was not ready. And it was just not scalable it could work in some African context, in some African markets, but just looking at the commercial viability of it, it was not workable. And trust me, that crushed me. That really broke me. It really crushed me because I had spent I think about a year and a half at that point in time, trying to get this and, going to exhibitions and having people interact with the product and having people say that we really like this, we'd love to see this come into a commercial aspect, that happened. So at that time, I think we were doing this in the UK. So I came back home, and I think I literally took 2 months out. I took 2 months out of my business, out of everything, out of friends, family, and I just came back to just kind of sit down with myself and say, all right, fine, that happened. Okay, what else can we do? And I had to pivot from that innovation standpoint to coming to a market that's kind of accessible and ready, of which was the solar installation space, I was fortunate enough to just get training in that, and I started the solar panel installations, and I think it's quite a great and interesting market to be in South Africa and Africa as a whole. I think it was mentioned somewhere that Africa is the youngest continent, and with that being said, that means that we've still got youth that are thriving out there that still need to take our continent to the next level. I mean, you look at our towns and cities, there's vast amounts of room of development that still needs to happen. And with development comes infrastructure that's needed. fossil fuels
Mhm.
are kind of being like a source that was, brought from the first and second into the third industrial revolution. And at this point in time, we are working in the fourth industrial revolution, of which is greatly tech-based, and we've kind of learned a lot to move from that fossil fuel space into renewable energy. I mean, we have wind energy now, you've got solar energy, you've got biomass, you've got hydro energy, and it's these are energy sources that are very much stable. I mean, you look at, I think, if I stand under correction, but 50 years ago, if I could install a traditional size of 10 kilowatts, it would have probably costed me 2.5 million just for a house. And back then, the panels were huge, and the efficiency was quite terrible. But then and now, the technology has moved so vast. I mean, now it's a lot more efficient. The size has reduced. Um, Even the battery technology has, really moved to such a level that's incredible. Inverters. So it's a lot more affordable now to actually have that investment in your house, in your business, in your factory, have that solar investment and move away from the traditional forms of energy. And I mean, the reason why I say it's an investment is because you install it. Okay, fine, there's an upfront cost, but you install it, but in 2, 3, 5 years, it's paid itself off, and you don't really need to rely on traditional forms of electricity.
Yeah.
No load shedding, no electrical hikes, all due respects to NERSA and the likes, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I do have a question for you. Sorry to interject.
Please go. For
No,
it,
it's
go
about
for
your
it.
journey, and within that journey,
Yes.
I hear something along the lines of timing. So clearly, you were ahead of your time with regards to what you were building in the prototype.
Yes.
So
That's
you were ahead of your time. Excuse us. Thank you, Siyabonga. Tell what you must.
Yeah.
But now you're speaking back to like actually procuring the resources and financially and socioeconomically and what
Yes.
have you not. It's cheaper and it's more feasible and more affordable
Yeah.
to put X, Y, and Z together. So what you are saying essentially is if we had to speak to young entrepreneurs, I mean, it comes with experience, right? Experience.
Yes.
Is that timing is everything? Would you say that in this sense? Because if you had gone with this plan then, and like you said, it would have been 2.5 billion, $1,000 billion. How does one gauge timing? So I don't know what I'm asking, but is it a thing of you have to wait for you spoke about commercial viability. Do you have to wait till the fruit is ripe and then you pick it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
because you had to wait for the I don't know the jargon, but
Yeah.
the sale of batteries to go. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I get that. Thanks for that question. So, no, don't wait. Do not wait. In entrepreneurship, don't wait. Plant the seed, water the tree, and get it going. Now, the beauty of that is that, okay, for instance, like with me, right? If I was to say I'm gonna wait for the right time, I might not have been in this position to take NoCB in the avenue that it is in now, because I might have waited for somebody out there to create what I need to create, of which, how long is that going to take? You don't know. When are you going to get there? You don't know. So you're going to be sitting with a lot more unknowns than you would have if you just start, put the work in. If it fails, it fails. Or another thing, accept failure. Failure is there as something that's good. A lot of people are afraid to fail. Fail forward. If you fail, it's good, but fail forward.
Sorry, failure in your understanding, in terms of your motto, your belief, your philosophy.
Yeah.
What is failure? For example, for
Okay.
me, success is not having the big car, the big house,
Yes,
the big
yes.
just that. It's the way in which the kind of life that I live and how I treat people.
Yes.
So it's the internal stuff. So for you, what is failure? People have different versions of what
Yeah,
failure constitutes.
so-
What's failure for you?
I will take failure in the business and entrepreneurial point of view, not in personal dynamics,
Yeah,
because we'll sit here the whole day. So yeah, looking at entrepreneurial and business failure, right? Here you are as this young entrepreneur, you started this journey, you are building something, only for you to get to a point where you've hit a roadblock and you can't take your product or idea or process or service any further, and with that, you need to come to a point and say, okay, I didn't get to where I want to be, but should this now mean I should give up and quit and turn around? It shouldn't be the case. I remember I was listening to, I forgot what the speaker's name is, but he was telling me that in the US economy, even some investors will firstly ask you, have you failed first? If you haven't failed, they're not going to buy or pitch into whatever that you have. Because what failure teaches you is that, okay, I've hit a roadblock. How can I now either demolish that wall or how can I build a ladder to take me across? Or maybe if I just peek around the corner, I might just be able to move around that wall. So taking that into context, failure is just hitting a dead end. You are sitting there, you don't know maybe when your next check is coming from, you don't know where your next progress of stage is coming from, you don't know what you're going to do next. You absolutely have no idea what's going to happen next. So that's when you need to kind of take that step back and say, okay, I've tried it in this avenue. All right, like with me, when I got given that harsh reality of this prototype is not going to work, I needed to take a stand back and see, okay, fine. If this is not going to work, but what else in solar energy can I still do that is going to work? So with us, innovation is definitely still one of our core founding beliefs. It's something that we still have in the background that's working. There's still concepts that are cooking in the background, but we needed to have an understanding that as an entrepreneur, you need to diversify your revenue streams. Don't be focused on one line of revenue. Okay, if I was to say that, okay, I'm just going to focus on innovation. Innovation takes time, especially with creating a physical component. It's much different when you are in tech or fintech or anything that is app based, where all you need is just to code and you need to have those infrastructures of coding. It's very different when you're actually making a tangible product. It takes time. You need to go through R&D. You need to go through that whole certification process, and all of that. So I came to a realization that, okay, look, I'm not going to give up on your dream. So another thing, with failure, it doesn't mean giving up. It just means that, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. This version 1 didn't work, but maybe there's a version 2, 3, 4.0 going that way.
4.0 really was that?
Yeah. So yeah, it's really like that. I hope I really answered your question.
No, you did very beautifully. It brought in, like what I said, a lot of people have various philosophies or belief systems that are inculcated in their psychological DNA in terms of what they believe, and you hit the wall, you're like, hast thou forsaken me? You know what I mean? Exactly. But like you said, you build a ladder. I love analogies, by the way. You build a ladder, or you flip and kick that thing down, you fight. You fight the good fight.
Exactly.
And talking about fighting the good fight, I don't know, I like to relate things. It's weird. Anyway, talking about the good fight, looking at accessibility and costs in terms of, I don't like this word. It bothers me. Previously
disadvantaged. Okay.
I don't like this word.
Let's be frank.
No, I know. I don't like the word. It's overused. Okay, previously disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Or digitally marginalized communities. How's about that? Digitally marginalized communities. The costs around solar and installing it in my house in Santon and in Kukwini in Alex. Literally. Literally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, what's beautiful is that we can bridge the gap. So solar demands are very based on what is it that you need. I mean, for instance, I'll give you an example. Two spectrums of the clients that we cater. For instance, you just mentioned someone who's in Alex, whether it's in an RDP or Kuku or whatever you might have, versus somebody who's in a three-bedroom townhouse somewhere. Firstly, the essentials for that person who's in Alex is lights. Let's get the lights on firstly. Okay, let's get the lights on. Let that person not have to rely on kerosene, paraffin, or any of those flammable combustibles because they are very dangerous. And every winter we hear these tragic numbers of people who lost their lives due to that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mentioned, for instance, if I need to power 3 light bulbs in a shack, it's a lot more affordable versus if I need to power a 3 bedroom with a TV, fridge, and all of those things.
Tanning
It's very-
bed.
A tanning bed, yes. Yeah, so it's very affordable. And that's the thing. As much as, fine, we can't run away from the fact that some components in solar are pricey. I mean, your inverters, your lithium batteries. But we do have other alternatives. For instance, let's cater to the more affordable markets, right? All they need is a solar panel, 2 solar panels, or maybe even one 535-watt panel to power the lights, and maybe I would say a 200 amp hour gel battery, so that during the day they can charge their battery, so that at night they can just plug on and have those lights running, and then they can charge their phone, they can watch TV. This is just basic. And then it becomes different where we need to start attaching things like stoves and like maybe kettles and the like. Then it kind of shifts because unfortunately kettles and stove draw quite a lot of power, But
Sorry, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Sorry, very interesting.
Yeah,
You just sparked my brain.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, wow, cool. Sorry, just that
okay.
was
That's
good
okay.
insight.
Yeah, those draw a lot of power. But now, one thing that I think we need to look at, especially in villages, townships, and communities that are not as higher up in the LSM, as the marketing and people would like to term. We need to look at that. For me, the most beautiful solution for that would be is, instead of catering for one household, let's just create a small utility scale that will power 30 to 50 households, and in that case, we'll be able to make catering for, the lights, the fridges, the TVs, the kettles. And then with the stoves, maybe let's move away from electrical stoves and just have maybe
Gas
a
stove.
gas
Hey.
stove, and this is not really far-fetched concepts. It's not really far-fetched. If you look at a 15 kilogram canister of gas, you're looking at about maybe 160 rand, and this lasts for a month to 2 months, depending on how you can use it. Versus,
Sorry, where do you buy yours? Where do you buy your gas?
essentially, if you just
My
look at,
9 kg cost me 320.
yeah, you need to talk to the right suppliers. eh?
Okay, so you say okay, winter's coming. It's fine. Game of Thrones. Just move on.
Yeah.
No, but come on, move on, Shem. Oh my gosh! You see, this is how captivating this man is. I didn't even notice the time.
Yeah, well, please cut me off when you need to cut me off, eh?
A long
yeah.
good.
Long
No wonder
time.
they're giving me like looks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, guys, I don't understand these things.
Yeah,
No,
but anyway,
wow, no. Just one last question.
Yes.
As Fortune Nosi, how would you like to be remembered
Okay, well,
if you dropped it now?
if I drop...
I mean, I'm wearing black, so I'm just for your funeral.
Wow, okay. Not that true. Not that soon. Not that soon. So yeah, but with me, I would like to be remembered as the legacy that I've left behind. Nosy Beam. Nosy Beam is not about myself. It's just about creating um, a brand that can stand for its own DNA and ethos. I would like for me, if like you put it, if I had to drop dead today, for that brand to still live, for that brand to still have its continuity, and still create the impact in society, in communities, because that's what it's about.
Long-lasting energy.
Exactly, long-lasting renewable energy.
Yeah, there you go.
And we beam in and we get solutions out. So that's what I would just like to leave behind, is just Nosy Beam as that organism that can live and still thrive and achieve and change lives. Change lives, change communities. But if you want to know more, please go to nosybeam.com.
No, don't.
You
16
can
days
if
of
you want.
activism. Men also do get abused, so let's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
16 days of activism. Let me just. Yes.
So
Okay.
definitely.
Follow.
Please go to nosybeam.com. You will find all our details on nosybeam.com. That's NOSIBEAM.com. Or on social media, you can just type in Nosy Beam. On Instagram, it's Nosy_Beam. Just check us out. Get to know us. Request your quotes. If you've got any other questions that you might have, we are definitely willing and able to engage. Once again, thank you very much, Cindy. And I really hope that you guys got some value out of this session that we just had today.
No, it's been very beautiful, especially looking at bread and butter issues and accessibility and infrastructure, just socioeconomically in our country. I think, you brought a lot of insight and that speaks back to social entrepreneurship when you look at things that are combustible, flammable, like paraffin, like amakhandlela. So finding healthier, I suppose, and safer ways, alternatives to XYZ. So there is a bit of social entrepreneurship there. I love it. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Today, it is so hot up in here. I've tanned. I was pale like an hour ago. But on the real though, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Fortune. I'm sure there's been a lot of puns in your name, so I'm not.
That's okay. No, thank you guys for having me. And like I said, it's really such a privilege to be part of the Startup Business Festival. That's an amazing initiative that you guys are doing. And what I love about the ecosystem that you guys are building is support for entrepreneurship. We definitely need it. We really, really need it. And, just a platform like this for us to be heard and to get our ideas and notions out there, it's really quite important. It's really quite important. And it also helps us in our journey as well.
Amen.
Yeah, so shout outs to the fellow entrepreneurs out there. Keep doing it. And, our future and our tomorrow is really at our arm's reach. So we need to be the ones that are doing it. We are the change agents, and we really need to be the ones that are doing it. We got this.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
It's been real. It's been emotional. It's been all sorts of things. But we're gonna go on a break now. So, and then we're gonna have our next speaker.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meet Linda, the
I am on mute. I love how I am on mute. Happy Tuesday, everyone, even though it feels like Monday. It feels like January, even though it's December. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. We are here today. Like I said, all things entrepreneurship. We've been celebrating Entrepreneurship Week for a month. Tonight we went and we fetched it and we went there for an entire month. We're looking at cultural entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, economical entrepreneurship, and also environmental entrepreneurship, all in the backdrop of technological innovation. We're speaking all things business, all things entrepreneurship. The words are interchangeable and that's perfectly fine. But more than anything, we are looking at accessibility. And today, very good friend of mine, a brother, not a friend, a brother, like a brother, but also a brother, but also a brother. Yonki, Spamanda, Damini, Cindy, Dada.
You're supposed to be at Lamini, but something happened. So, but you know that too.
I know. It's fine, but I still see you. I see you, cuz. No, what's going on in Bella, Speto Mustes Pamanda, Dlamini, or was a pop-up Daisy, or some cozy media, amazing human being. No, really, not because say Mabona Gude, but one of the most humble people I know in the world. Very loving, big heart, and I'm very privileged to know you and to have you here today.
Likewise.
Chat to our peeps. Chat to our peeps with regards to entrepreneurship. This man is a hustler, and I don't mean it in the you know how we romanticize the struggle. You know, no, I'm saying real like high concept hustling. I'm not talking about mimakoni. No, I'm talking about high concept hustling.
Not that kind of a hustle.
You get what I'm saying? Not that. And it's sad, though, that there are those negative connotations attached to the word hustle. Because already, look at the caricature I'm already performing already. No, we need to stop this. It must fall. So, yes, real hustler, OG, doing his thing, Cozy Media, Pop-Up Thursday, and Kasi Grooming Club!
Yeah.
A plethora of amazingness. Okay, Mr. Ni. Please take it away, sir. You are speaking all things township economy or City Ekasi.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Sipamanda Dlamini, also known as Mr. Diaper, International Corporate Pansula. And the International Corporate Pansula comes from being a Pansula Umchita Wasekasi, but who's accessing the corporate world and who's trying to push a different narrative in terms of running a functional business from Ekasi, you know? And I always tell people that I'm one of the most fortunate guys to be given platforms in a corporate world. And then I was able to turn those platforms and make them work for me as soon as I started my entrepreneurial journey.
It was shang on my CV because I'm my credentials and
None.
you're international Pansula. I mean, I love how you do qualify that statement, Pansula, with international, global. You are also plugging into the digital economy and Ushaya worldwide, you know.
Yeah.
So tell us about Umkozi Media and how it actively plugs micro enterprises within your community to the digital economy.
Yeah. So, of course, when I was starting off as an entrepreneur, right, I just wanted to have an agency because I just wanted to be in advertising and I really loved my job. But, you know, like with any other thing, is enthusiasm. So when I decided to resign and start my entrepreneurial journey, I really wanted to resign at my job, but not in my career. And I decided that I'm going to start my own agency called Uncozy Media. And the underlying factor of Uncozy Media was how is it going to be different. I remember I was having this conversation with one of my mentors, Mbangi, Mr. Chaps. And, you know, I was presenting this whole idea to him and he said to me, you know, most of the time the things that we're looking for are actually around us and we see them every day. But because we're so used to them, we don't see them as money. We can't monetize those nuances that we see around. And he was like, Don, I mean, like every time when I'm with you, Ekasi, you greet people from Ekaslako to wherever you're going. Why going to turn that into cash.
Mm.
Then I started realizing, I feel like my mind had a light bulb. Like, gotcha.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, he's onto something,
Mhm.
right? How do I make a machita just by seeing me?
Mm.
Then that's when it all started. And then I realized that there's a huge gap in advertising, and especially in portraying the black narrative
Hmm.
and doing ads that really resonate with black people.
Mhm.
And I realized, no, the market is there. It just needs a different kind of business model, right? And decided to start Mkos Media, and the focus was to focus on youth marketing in townships. So we connect brands to the townships, and we connect the youth to the brands. So it's an interlink that we create, and we do this through various forms of engagements. And while we were at it, it was easier for me to have the stature that I had when I was still working for a big global advertising agency. I would just walk in and then they're like, yeah, Mr. Depp, Mr. Depp. But as soon as I started going solo, I wasn't able to convince the client to believe in me that I can actually deliver on briefs, because now I'm alone. I'm no longer with their policy, whatever agents, right? So it was really tough for me to start accessing clients. It was really tough for me to start getting people to believe in my brand and people to believe in my capabilities as Depper. So I then realized that I need to create a business model that will allow me to run my agency the way I want it to be ran, right? And I realized that I need to be an agency that has products, and in those products, we're going to treat those products as our clients. We're going to treat those products as our incubators to access and channel the youth, right? And then we had a sit down with my partner at that time, and then we decided that okay, we have to create products in order to show people what we can do. And then we created Kasi Grooming Club, which is a space for young black boys to confide in each other, help each other. And the thing that really pushed us to start Kasi Grooming Club was the fact that a lot of guys think looking good is the only way of grooming, but they forget about the mental side of things. That if your mind is not right, right? So Classic Grooming Club was to identify that, focus on grooming from a holistic point of view, not only from a physical point of view, which are the looks. And then a couple of years later, Classic Grooming Club had its own thing going on, its own vibe, and I really like the fact that it's more than just a club. It's actually us black men dealing with our own toxic behaviors and trying to identify them and fix them, not for other people but for ourselves. And
Can I interject there?
Yeah,
I have to interject there. When you first told me about a year or two ago about EKGC,
Yeah.
I've always had anger issues against men. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I've always had that.
and I think you're not the only one, hey?
I think I'm not the only one. And I've always said, can black women have a love that does not require suffering, does not require pain, does not require XYZ? And one of the biggest things, and looking at the fact that it's 16 days of activism, whatever that means right now, is that unfortunately women have had to carry the burden of said trauma that you guys have gone through, of said issues or problems or struggles or challenges that you guys have faced. We have had to bear the burden, carry the burden. But what I love, when I heard you speak about KGC, I was like, yes, we don't have to carry this. We've been carrying the stuff emotionally, mentally, financially at times, but we've been spiritually as well. We're there in our prayers.
Yeah. No, you have to pray for your partner.
No, true. I'm just saying, there's just been so much of women bearing a lot. And for me to hear about the conversations you've been having within, obviously I wish I was a fly on the wall. I can't be there physically because it's a men, unless if I have an exchange. I don't know about that. But yeah, I loved what you look into in terms of internal grooming. Grooming is not just about external, it's internal. You have to look at the way you are, and also creating a new narrative for black people, particularly in this case, KGC, black brothers, black men. and it actually matches the conversation that we had Izolo with Arnold Sibanda, who
Is
is
it
yeah. Arnold Sibanda was here yesterday, and he was talking about Black Male Positivity Project as well.
Yeah.
So actually, these two, they know each other.
Partners.
They're partners. Not those partners, but yes, partners. It's sad that I have to qualify that. I mean, the two brothers can't show each other love. I don't know. They are partners.
Like
They're
Lalela,
partners.
Ekasi Grooming Club, we don't play.
Yeah,
To me, I tell my friends that I love them. I tell them that I care about them, and it's a conscious decision that I decided to make because right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and anything can happen. Today you see me, tomorrow you may not. As hard as it and harsh it may seem, it's a reality that we're living in, and we have to appreciate each other. And besides in the COVID, we have to appreciate each other. I think for me, Kasi Grooming Club was one of my projects that I've always been passionate about because I've always been ELT Yasikasi, who's well dressed, well groomed, well spoken. I'm that guy. So I think for me it was I actually realized because a lot of people actually thought that I was into fashion because of my look, but it wasn't really a fashion thing. It was just a branding thing, a branding phase of the type of persona and the type of aesthetic that I want around me, right? And that on its own actually showed me that there's a lot of hard work that we need to push around men. There's a lot of hard work that we need to push around the culture yamachita, right? And then I started realizing that no, I'm not actually into fashion, but I'm into understanding the men holistically. And then it pushed me further to want to push more, to a point where I decided that, okay, I'm going to run a Gasi grooming club that won't just focus only on the looks, that will focus on a holistic approach. And of course, we're going to jump on the business side of things where we have our barbers in different branches. But that's our future plan. And we also want to be Africa's leading grooming brand. So the SADC region, we want to be known as Gasi Grooming Club because the concept is cleverly made to an extent that it just needs a change of language, but the mindset, the same thing as Yenza gas, the only difference it would be the approach and the tone and the language, but the same mindset, the same modus operandi, Spanish, we can implement it wherever we want to push it. Right?
No,
And
definitely. Looking at the African diaspora, the way in which the same tools were utilized to disperse are the same tools that we can utilize to bring back together.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We have to develop a new culture as African men to start trying to fix ourselves. Because if we don't,
Who said you're broken?
No, we are not broken.
What is fixing? I'm interested to know what is fixing
I
yourself.
think fixing yourself.
And can you fix yourself? Does a doctor ever operate on their own?
I think
gout.
I think if we are going to use the example of a doctor, we are going to be in very bad problems, right? We have to diagnose this. I feel like as a man, you need to understand yourself. You need to know yourself. You need to understand your triggers. You need to understand your shortcomings and your the things that you're good at, basically, right? And when you do that, you are able to know what's for you and what's not for you. Your engagement with people becomes easier because now you've already set the engagement or the bar to say, this is what I believe in, these are my values, and this is what I stand for, right? I think when we have to fix ourselves, we have to do that, right? We have a lot of men that don't understand what is it to be a man. You ask a man, what is a man? That's not being a man. Those are characteristics of being a man, right? I don't want to act like I'm the perfect man, but I think being a man is based on integrity and honor. And the values that will come with that will dictate the type of outcome that you have as Umchi. So when I'm speaking about fixing, I'm speaking about these things, the integrity, the values, and being hard on yourself by pushing yourself and understanding when you're wrong, because you only learn by admitting your shortcomings and then you understand that you can not do that again because it was bad for you at first, right? And we have to understand one thing. Mina ngi-out sekas, mfethu, ne? And every time when I leave the house, there are kids that look up to me. They might not tell me, but they do. So, and living in a place where we have lack of fathers, we as Kasi boys tend to look up to other machita as paternal NH, right? So it's very important for us to understand whatever that we do, there are consequences of our actions because we're teaching other people those things. So I think when we say we have to fix ourselves, Tina as a machita, we understand, okay, especially us, some millennials, right? We are Mahrotman, Manj. We need to lead Ishrotmani in a very efficient way for the Amachensent. Ultimo feeder, we've already set the tone for them, right? They take off, they they left us to another level. Like for me, growing up Pikasi, we had a Mahrotman. Mahrotman used to tell us, don't be crying. But they never actually told us why. Now the conversation has to change it. No, I'm an intellect, I'm a graduate. They can stretch the conversation which in a much more depth. They can stretch the conversation which in a much more width. You know what I mean?
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Batshela ukuthi niyekele ukukhalisa izitsha and all of that. Yabona Mahrotman. Definitely.
So yeah, I'm thinking. I think for me that's what I mean by saying we need to fix ourselves. So
Yeah.
this is hold accountability. So much it does especially culture, your positivity, especially culture, you win, man. The culture you resilient in whatever that we do, you know, because Ikasi is a good place. You know, it just it depends on which when spend this katsaku ganja. Ikasi taught me character. Ikasi taught me how to maneuver. It taught me the streets. But I think for me, I like the Kasi character, Tandikasi, because of the character that it builds you. But the mindset for me is not the one. The mindset you discourage abanye abantwana who want to do things, you know. For me, I think that's the downfall yeKasi. The nezinto ezenzakala eKasi, drug abuse, alcoholism, yizo lezo zinto lezo. But if you are able ukuthi usikhiphe kulezo zinto, iKasi lingakwenza izinto aspire, just like it has done a lot from me, from a business point of view, from a life point of view, from an influence point of view, you know what I mean? And I really like the fact that Amachita appreciate the fact that the autistic Kasi that represents them well in other spaces that I access. Hence the term international corporate
International corporate
not just the Pantula,
Yes.
in another sphere. Pantula, I'm a graduate, I'm a Pantula, I'm push ama company, I'm a business is successful. That's the energy I want to push within the club. The energy which is and we don't let each other fade because all of us when we meet up at the club we have different skill sets and we have different backgrounds, so we help each other, you know. Find an accountant, find a doctor, you find literally everyone, you know. Those are the spaces that we're trying to push a safe zone for young black men.
Should this be the real brother code, the real guy code? Because the guy code, we know it as when a friend of yours rapes a girl, y'all keep quiet. You don't call your friend out. What are the bro code? Is this the bro code, the real bro code that you are looking at and talking about? Not the one that enables. This is the ultimate bro code. I think this is the real bro code. This is what the bro code should be.
I think I think the intention of the bro code was it started off from a good place, right? And I want you to hear me and understand me properly so that it doesn't look like I'm perpetuating the NWA bro code. Bro code basically means we have to stand together. The only problem is that now we're standing together with the wrong things, and then now it defeats the whole purpose of having a bro code, right? Because when we have such codes, it was for us to be safe, not to manipulate women and use it to our own advantage, right? So, for an example, I'm a very exclusive guy. When I'm in a relationship, I date one person because I like doing that. And I always tell my friends, Chief, we understand that sharp. Maybe when you still a bachelor, not one, and we respect that because that's your that's your vibe,
Mhm.
right? But I would really like the fact that when we are hanging around with our significant others, you must respect us. So you can't come here with your 1,000 girlfriends because that on its own makes me look like Ngati. Intombi yami mingekho. I do the same thing, right? And that on its own, it's the ego code to say no. Let's respect each other's spaces and boundaries, you know, and let's understand which yes we are friends, but there's certain things that we do as friends that we won't like about each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that we need to do, we need to create a safe zone which was without making anyone feel any animosity, right? But rather since abantu bafeel comfortable. So out here me as with I vandag step uzobe kunemedia yakhe hey thingwas but rather than which manje busy ulo not we end up losing count, you know. And because
Isn't that something that's praised? Or it's JK.
no, it depends. It depends. You know, with me, my life is quite different right now. You know, I'm in a different stage in life. I think a couple of years back,
That's normal. Yeah.
But
that's
when I
fine.
started entrepreneurship, I had to have a conversation, an honest conversation with myself. Which I keep businesses open, no peace in but I keep one is a fail. It's either Pumelela Mantumbazane or Pumelela business, but you have to sacrifice. But so Mena, I was willing to put in the hard work. I was willing to understand which I have to have a partner that will take me to the next step, right? And I feel like for me that works for me, right? And I'm not saying that everyone should do that. Mina yang Spanela ngimnandi, siona yonke into, right? So, and I think it's very important to start having these conversations, you know, because I always tell Amachita, I fear them fit. We must have fun, but we are not here on earth to have fun, such as in those but we're here to fulfill our purposes, whatever that purpose is. But we are not here to stay forever. So with the little time that we have, we must make sure that indeed purposeful. And everyone has their own time to ripe. I mean, we can have a tree of apples, but not all those apples will get ripe at the same time. You know, some will take longer because of the shade. All the conditions actually determine, right? So, my condition didn't allow me to be that guy. My condition wanted me to step up in all levels of life, from a business point of view, from a life point of view, and from a partner point of view, right? And most importantly, from an energy point of view. I feel like the energy is very important in terms of understanding which ayikho into enhle ezenzeka ungekho in the right energy. You know, it starts from kuwe, and then the energy yakho iyaspreadeka in the whole room. People can feel it. I don't know how it happens, but it does happen, right? And I realized, for me to be successful, I need to be in the right spaces. If you want to hang around with me, you have to be there. You have to have the right energy, because now I can't let your energy disturb my energy.
Your peace.
Yeah, no.
Your
Please, when it
peace.
comes to that, I don't want to compromise.
Yeah.
I don't want to even act as if if isn't those I want to disturb my vibe, no, they're bad for me. And the meaning again fast.
Quickly and quietly. And quietly.
Yep.
Yeah, so you've spoke of Kozi Media, you've spoke of KGC, and now we entrepreneur when you're entrepreneurship, because actually KGC is social entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it is.
It's social entrepreneurship.
It is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I just want to step back into I love KGC. Okay, leave me alone. I just want to step back into KGC a bit. Uthe ama-gents ayahlangana, ama-doctor, ama-business bantu. Do you guys have mentors that lead discussions? Do you have psychologists and counselors from a professional point of view, in terms of we can all unpack and have a conversation all we want, but if we don't have not professional guidance, but guidance from people who have already been through that, who have navigated that world on a professional level, then what's the point? We can also sit and vent, but not having a clear direction of these are the steps and how we're going to continue this. So every Wednesday in a support group, yan. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do you have that?
Yeah,
Contingency plan.
KGC was doing well before COVID, and the
Mm.
only problem is that everyone else before COVID always thought Djibouti will always have human engagement, right? We used to have sessions, so we used to break down our calendar into four quarters, right? So the first quarter, we know which the first month we're going to have an event, and that event will discuss the topic that we have, and then we always try to have an expert so that we don't mislead people, so that we don't lead people astray. So when we're having these conversations, there's always someone who's dealing with this from a professional point of view, because at the end of the day, yes, I may lead the session in terms of the conversation and in terms of the creative strategies of the brand, but I'm not a psychologist or no a therapist, right? So we need people that are going to strike balance, not from a biased point of view, but from an expert point of view. And after that session, we're going to have things that we hold ourselves accountable of. So if it's decided, okay, we're doing a charity drive. We usually have charity drives. What are we doing? Are we going to the nearest daycare center? Are we going to donate toys? But we try by all means to be proactive, because all these sessions, and this is one thing that actually made me to want to launch Gasikolo Club. I've been part of the men culture for the longest time. Arnold knows, he'll tell you. But I realized with man, we are focusing too much on how we look, on how we must dress, and that doesn't change the problem that we're facing in Ghana. And I made sure that every time when we speak about things, we need to hold ourselves accountable. If we are saying we are going to come here at Newtown and feed a machita, abulawa, ama itraga pews, and then try to get them to go back to rehab, help them get IDs and all those things, those are what we do in Gasikolo Club. We are a proactive club. That's why we are not an NGO, we are an MPC. We raise funds for ourselves. We do things for ourselves, and the reason why we do that is because we don't want to blame other people for our shortcomings. We want to understand that, no, we had a conversation about this. What are we doing? And we always try by all means after our sessions to have next steps that says which wonke umuntu ola kule room uzohold accountable, and how we're going to address this issue that we spoke about. We can't be spending 2 hours just to talk. We must stop with the talking and then just jump on with action. Senze izinto abantu babona ukuthi lento iyaphumelela iyaya phambili yabona. But unfortunately makwenzakala i-COVID, izinto zezama kancane, those engagements that we usually had to take a back turn, and I honestly didn't want to do an online thing, and really, because like for me, Gasikolo Club is one of my passion projects, right? And yes, it is a business, but I'm really passionate about it, and I want it to be well executed, because this is something I've been doing all my life, right? And I want it to be every time when we come up with ideas that are really thought of, not just the hype. Everyone is doing this.
Yeah, I'm a trend.
I don't want that, right? And I decided that I need to go back to the drawing board, because when we started the group, it was just about being a group, but we wanted it to now come back from a European aesthetic to a South African and classy aesthetic, actually an African aesthetic, because I mentioned earlier on that I want us to be Africa's leading grooming brand. So with that, our purpose of existing has to live within a radius as Africa. Right?
Amen.
And
Amen.
yeah, I think that's what that's what we were doing, trying to bring the brand back ekasi, using our nuances was ekasi, my aesthetic, my texture, communication, feel,
Yes.
and yeah, we did that, and I think for me that was very important. We did our first branding this year, right? Yeah, this year we did our rebranding. Time flies, eh?
Really? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
And-
goodness.
Yeah, and of course the partnership with Menspoke,
And the House of Mana.
and the House of Mana as well. These are the things that I felt like they needed to to be done before
Mm.
we take the session to the next step.
Mm.
And by the grace of Allah, 2022 will be a great year for Kasi Cooking Club.
Yes.
And the team that I have is a very good team. And I like the fact that they believe in me as a leader, and I believe in them as my team. So the synergy is good, the energy is good. Yonke into esikhuluma ngayo iyayenzeka.
Mhm.
Those are the people I want to work with. Those are the people I want around me. I don't want people who talk about ideas to a point where sisaboreka.
Mm.
Uyabona, isikhathi siyahamba.
Mm.
We have to be adamant ngezinto esisifunayo, and we need to understand ukuthi yonke into ihamba ngesikhathi. So the sooner, the better.
We don't discuss ideas, we discuss solutions.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I've
yeah,
learned
yeah.
here in this
We can't,
space.
we can't be,
That's
yeah.
They say, no, we're not.
I think-
you don't
I think-
present your idea, you
yeah,
present your
I think,
solution.
I think I got that from the advertising industry, because that's what we do.
Mm.
The client is object, which people are not buying the product. We don't focus on why are people not buying the product. We want to focus. Yes, we want to understand why, but that's not the focus. The focus is that we want to make people buy the product, right? And I feel like that's the solution that everyone should have. Try to say, "Unenkinga, how do we solve the nkinga?" Not dwell on the problem. And that's the problem I feel like we have a tendency of doing in South Africa. We don't attack the problem, we attack each other. And then we miss the point entirely.
Oh, yeah, we don't attack the problem, we attack each other. That's a very deep one. I'm going to think about that when I get home. It's true. I know, but that's the truth, though. Nothing but the truth. I just want to get into Pop-Up Thursdays. Pop-Up Thursday, because, again, we're speaking cultural entrepreneurship as well. So tell us about Pop-Up Thursday. We've got 10 minutes left.
All right.
10 minutes left.
I think 10 minutes is enough. I think a pop-up be product because media. And when we launched pop-up, it was because of COVID. You know, my partner and I, Riam Lebati, Riam Maverick, Ria Panzola, I think we had a meeting, you know, like, dog, we need to create a platform of helping entrepreneurs, and we need to know each other, guys, who's selling who's an entrepreneur, you know. And we realized, no, how about we have a pop-up market that will not be determined by the venue, but will be determined by the concept of how it lives and how you can tie it everywhere. I can literally bring pop-up market. And it will
really,
exist,
and you should.
You know?
You should.
I know what this is. But anyway, so that's what we did. We're like, how do we create an ecosystem of entrepreneurs like us, right? And for me, I looked at it from two perspectives. I looked at it from a business perspective, that it will be easier for me as someone who's running an advertising agency to help these brands. And it would be really dope for me as an entrepreneur to give other entrepreneurs a platform to leverage from, right? So we don't run Pop-Up Thursday like an event. It's actually run like a company which deals with enterprise development. It's like an enterprise development program. How do we uplift entrepreneurs? How do we try and give them the right platforms and make their brands commercially viable so that it can sell from a mainstream platform? And so far, the event started off on a Thursday because we wanted to continue our culturally first Thursday, which is the culture that happens in Cape Town and Joburg, in Maboneng, Braamfontein, Keys Art Mile, and then in Cape Town as well. So I wanted to do that, but from a Kasi perspective, right? It wasn't about copying and pasting, but I always had this burning desire of, why don't we have spaces like these, Ekas? Why should I go to Maboneng to buy a craft beer? Why don't we get guys from Ekas buy craft beer?
Yes,
right? And
yes.
then I think that on its own made me to want to start Pop-Up Thursday to say, let's access entrepreneurs, and from an advertising point of view, let's access small brands and help them to grow. And so far, the market is growing. We're going to be rebranding as well, Pop-Up. We're going to be adding more establishments to the brand. Actually, not establishments, subsidiaries that are going to live under the brand, right? Because the brand is in demand. but yet we don't want to take away that element of entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And hence I say that it's not a party, it's not it's an event to propel entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
But because we're young and we're youth, we like engaging,
Yes.
so we dress it to look like an event.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it has uplifted a lot of events. Actually, I need to start doing the stats of how many people we've helped and how many businesses we are continuing to help, right? And yeah, man, we want to grow. We want to grow. I mean, we're doing this and we are not funded. We are self-funded, right? So imagine if we get a serious bank who believes in the project and in the idea. We are going to be helping probably jump on nationwide, because for me that's the plan. That's the plan, right? And of course, considering which we are already in Johannesburg, it would be good to have another one in Durban and Cape Town. And the reason why we want to do that, because those are the economic hubs of SA. But as time goes on, we're going to spread out and try to uplift everyone. But such things take time, and I'd like people to be patient with us and really understand what is it that we're trying to do as pop-up, right? Yeah.
No, brilliant. Thank you so much, Mandla Dlamini.
Responses.
Yo, it's always so amazing just hearing you talk with so much passion and so much conviction, but with so much action as well. So it's not you trying to sound pretty. It's not you trying to sound cute. It's not you. You literally, there's a level of self-awareness that I appreciate in you in terms of the steps that you need to take. Yes, in your personal and your professional and your spiritual and your X, Y, and Z life. It's one of those things that we need. And like you said, you are not a perfect man.
Yeah.
None of us are. I mean, I'm not a man, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it is important that we carry our own crosses or Qurans. I don't know.
It's very important.
It's very important that we carry our own, work out our own salvation and then work to maintain it as well.
Yeah. You know what? But that's it. Just want to add off before we quickly leave. I think at some point you need to realize that you are not what you say you'll do. You are what you do. So it's easy for us to get onto such platforms, try to act cool, because we want people to like us, blah, blah, blah. Me, I'm not in entrepreneurship for that. I'm in entrepreneurship to build a legacy, right? People must speak about how I started the company from scratch. Those are the stories I want people to say about me. I'm not in entrepreneurship for a lifestyle, pop my champagne. For me, it's a different ball game. I'm in entrepreneurship to solve problems. And of course, yes, I want to make money.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely,
man.
with my high-end concepts, I definitely will make money. But you can't make money if the foundation is not right. You can't make money if you're not in the right spaces. You can't make money if you don't nourish and expand your idea, right? And I want to tell entrepreneurs that if accountability is not one of your strongest points, you must care about being a successful entrepreneur. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you understand that it's not about being perfect, but it's about understanding what are your shortcomings and overcoming your shortcomings, right? And when you do that, things become easy because you operate in a manner where you don't want to be perfect. And I don't want to be perfect. I want to learn because I understand that growth is a continuous thing that you do every day, right? Sometimes, yes, you don't feel motivated, right?
Yeah.
And hence why, as an entrepreneur, you have to develop a strong sense of discipline because discipline is permanent. Motivation is temporary.
Amen.
Right? So I think
Amen.
Those are my sentiments that I want to share with upcoming entrepreneurs, right? Are we done?
No, I mean we are done, but I'm not. Wow. My brother, I love you with my whole entire short person heart. Thank you so much for breaking bread with us as per usual. Always good to see you.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm a pals. I'm a wheeze.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was really such a great session. I was supposed to come long time ago, but because of entrepreneurship and other things, we had to make this session and I'm signing today. Thank you.
No, I'm glad you're here though. Glad you're here. So it doesn't matter. You're here. We've got our last speaker coming up. Guys, Valale Festival. We're shutting down the place, but it's all good in the neighborhood. Please stay tuned. I love how I'm on unmute. Oh, wow. Love this. Sanbanani Jimelang Absheni, hello. Igamo, Cindy, Lala. Yes, this is the third time you're seeing me. It's your lucky day. It is beautiful. It is okay. Ah, guys, it is so sad to say goodbye. And I can't sing at that time. Choir, I just youth choir didn't even. But it's a great time to be alive, doing all things entrepreneurship, celebrating all things entrepreneurship with the Startup Business Festival, running here at TBC, powered by the ICRD group rather. I don't know why my English has gone to din. Never loved us, no my mother tongue, and that's perfectly fine. Moving swiftly along, as you know, we have been doing an entire month, one entire full month of a festival in the spirit, obviously, of Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is celebrated annually from the 8th until the 12th of November. And we decided to kick things up like 3 notches times 10. And we have done a month long. So we took a week and we made it into a month long entrepreneurial festival. And we're looking at social entrepreneurship, environmental entrepreneurship, cultural entrepreneurship, and of course, economical entrepreneurship. And we all married it against the backdrop of the fourth industrial revolution, of course. That's what it is. That's where it's all about, plugging into the digital economy, and of course making an impact on various numerous entrepreneurs' lives, and just making entrepreneurship accessible and palpable. That's the word, palpable. Well, the operative word is thrive, but that's the word, palpable. We've got Mr. Quentin here, Matabella, who is here to speak all things entrepreneurship. I have no idea why I'm singing. I think it's gotten me excited for some reason. Like, let's blame the man. Let's just blame.
Festival at the end of the day, so we need to be excited.
Oh, we need to be excited. Well, I'm a bit sad because we're ending it, but you know what? You did bring the spirit back up. And I thank you so much, sir. Please take it away, Mr. Quentin.
Wow, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no, perfect. Sorry.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
Me trying to use 2 laptops, so you can imagine.
Yes.
So it's a festival. We're excited about it, and obviously at the end of the show is the beginning of something else new. So endings are new beginnings. So
Yes.
we cannot really be crying. We should be actually celebrating the beginning of all that we have done in all this festival today. So I'm gonna close it up, hopefully with a bang.
Woo!
Although I am gonna be too technical.
No pressure. No pressure.
So as the topic is all about project management in startups, leveraging project management tools. So those are a little bit big words, eh? Project management and startups. How the heck do we navigate that?
Leveraging. Leveraging.
So we're gonna try and not to be too technical, but however, and try, because obviously our audience is business people and entrepreneurs. So we're gonna try and speak business language and a little bit of jargon in management and project management.
Oh, zohlalisela amajargon.
Kancane,
Okay.
you know, take things up a notch, like you said. So yeah, let's do it.
All right, thank
What do you
you.
think? So yeah, as I've been introduced, my name is Quentin Matabella, and the name which my mother gave me is Ntokozo, and my dad decided to give me Quentin, and then obviously I inherited my surname from my forefathers. So just a quick bio: I love football, passionate about project management. That's why I'm having this talk here, and that's what I do. I've been doing it for about close to about 10 to no, I'm lying, say 8 to 10 years or so, because obviously I graduated as a mechanical engineer, and then the first two to 3 years I was in the technical department, and then I moved and decided, no, man, I think I love projects, you know. And then yeah, since I have been, I'm also a project management professional, serving the head of planning. That's where I serve at the ETX, as you have seen on the previous slide. I've got the logo there at ET-X projects. So that's where I mostly spend my 9 to 5 in the hours that I do. And I do a little bit of smaller consultation businesses here and there. And yeah, I love businesses as well. So just a background on startups on my side.
Mhm.
I started business at a young age, introduced by my mother, giving me sweets to sell at school and balloons and stuff. And at the time, they were quite cheap, 10 cents a balloon and 10 cents a sweet. So that's when I was introduced to selling. And then ever since, I've been, on quite a few startups in my life. So my mother's startups, I don't know how many of them. And then my own startups as well, there's been quite a few. So, yeah.
What is a startup for people there who don't know? Because we, like you said, we have these big words. Sorry to interject. We have these big words: leveraging, project management, da da da. But also, we need to be cognizant of the fact that people who are out there watching also they don't know the jargon. So, what is a startup
Well,
in your definition? Or is it
According
coming
to
up
my-
in your slide? Did I jump the gun?
yes.
Sometimes.
So I don't. Let's get into it as we go into the slides and try and unpackage it a little bit easier, not too much on it. I just want to brush off a little bit on it. So that was my introduction. We'll get to the startup. What a startup is. So just an outline of what I will deliver today is obviously I will define what project management is, and then project management in startup, and then what is required to start and then a plan as well, and then touch into project management tools to use on a startup, execution, monitoring and improving and closing out of the project. So, and this will be in context obviously on startups. So let's jump into it.
Let's go.
Sounds exciting, eh?
Yes. What a beautiful way to end this festival. But okay, take it away. Take it away.
Let's get into it. So going in too quick. So what is project management first of all? So that's what we need to understand. So what is a project? So project management is made of two words, which is project and management. So what is a project and what is project management? So project management, according to the PMI, Project Management Institute, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique result. So the two big words there to underline is temporary and a unique result. So that's what a project is. So for instance, if you view life as a project, for instance, even a day, if you approach a day, it can be a project. It's a temporary endeavor with an end and a unique result at the end of the day. So everything can be approached as a project. And then what is management? It's the organization and coordination of activities to achieve a defined set of objectives. So organizing and coordinating events or happenings around you. We call that managing. So manage your life, manage your activities, managing your social life or whatever. So those are two definitions which are quite big definitions, which has been made into a word which is project management. So how does this now play in the world of startups? Let's find out. Let's unpack it.
All right, let's go to the question that I jumped the gun on. Okay.
Cool. So there it is. Project
Yes.
management in startup. Right? So a startup, just quite to be simple definition. A startup would be, having an idea and you want to sell that idea to people. And then you're selling of your idea, obviously you need to pitch the idea and then obviously have give either a service or a deliverable, whatever you're selling. So, and then for you to be able to run the business, you need to set yourself up to a position whereby the operations are going. Whether your objective is to have sets of deliverables or to have a service. So starting up is to set yourself up in a position whereby your business is functional. Fully functional, however, this may still evolve and find its identity as it goes. But before it does evolve, it needs to start. So that's in layman's terms for me a startup. So obviously there's quite a few sets of tools you need for a startup. There's quite a few inputs that you need to do for a startup. So we're not going to go too much into it, but however, we are going to navigate into it.
Okay. Okay, I feel informed. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
So in terms of the startup, a startup can be from 0 to 3 years. So that's a temporary interval. So startup lasts between 0 to 3 years generally, and that's where the life of a business gets determined whether the baby is gonna make it or it's not gonna make it. So it's a very, very, very important phase of business. They always say that if your business doesn't, if you can survive 0 to 3 years in business, that means your business has high chances of making it. So, and that is the startup phase. So it's very, very important, and how you approach it. It's very, very important. So yes, it's a temporary endeavor, and then the aim is to start your business, ushering it into the operational momentum. So that's the end goal. So that's what we're trying to get into the startup. So it's a unique result of us getting into a startup. We want to have the objective to attain a unique result at the end of the day, which is to have operational momentum in our business, whether it's a service or it's a deliverable. And then this process needs to be organized and coordinated well, obviously, and to achieve the desired objective. So that is management. Sounds like it's management to me. I think so. And hence, project management fits into the space of startup quite well. Makes sense.
No, I feel like a student right now. I'm just like taking all the information. I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And how's the jargon so far?
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. No, honestly, because I'm not well versed in this jargon. Honestly, and it's actually palatable. It's palpable, palatable. It's quite palatable. So I don't feel stupid. Let me just say that.
So yeah, so just on this short, explanation, it just sums up what a startup is and what project management is. So and what the role of project management in a startup simply. So now, navigating to the next slide, what we need for us to start anything, the basics, obviously, of a startup or a business, we need to have an idea. Very, very, very important. So that idea, it's either a product or a service, as communicated. It can be unique or not unique. So businesses, obviously, what I like, what the greatest mind always say is that the best business ideas are stolen ideas. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say to say that.
Hallelujah.
So it cannot be, for instance, the sign of Apple. What's his name? What's his name? The Apple founder. Just
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. He said it straight that he stole the Apple sign from the Beatles.
Wow, I did not know that.
So he said it, and he acknowledges it. So that's how other,
Are they getting any royalties for that? But that's not neither here nor there. Yes, Mr. Steve Jobs.
So yeah, the idea can be as unique as it can be, or it cannot be so unique. But however, how you portray it, how you sell it to other people, it needs to have obviously a different angle that it can be sold. So if it's not that unique, so your deliverable, your how you serve it needs to be unique at the end of the day. And then obviously another thing that you need will be capital. So which is funding. So how do we get funding? Most of the time is loans. Where we come from, our background, most of the time, people with ideas they are not given. I don't know how God works on this one. God doesn't give
trust
much
funds.
money
God doesn't give trust
a lot of
funds.
good ideas. So usually we go to loans, and then there's other some of us which are very, very much very, very much. What can I say? What's the word?
I'm not gonna say it.
Lucky, that's the word. Lucky, to have friends and family that can sponsor our businesses, and most of us, some of us that has the money to finance it from our own pocket. So that's what's most important as well, which is capital. And then the last thing, and very, very important, is the market. So the market is your customers, your clients, and people that you're gonna sell this idea to. And then in business management language, there's jargon there, which part of it, all these customers and clients, we call them stakeholders.
Stakeholders. Oh, that word stakeholders here is introduced like no one's business. Okay, stakeholders. So with regards to an idea, just going back to the basics, with regards to an idea, here at the business clinic, they don't say an idea, they say it's a solution. So you need to not have an idea. They're like, no, we don't support ideas. We support solutions. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think it's they call it an action word.
Mm.
You understand? So action words are very important because they prompt us to act towards what we say.
Mm.
So an idea remains in the cloud unless it is downloaded and into a solution and acted upon. So yeah, I'd say it's a good practice.
Okay.
Fantastic. I've learned. I think you prompted me to use the solution. So you need to have a solution for every challenge that is there, right? So that's the basics that we need to have. And as we are saying, that the market is very, very important. Who you gonna sell this? Your stakeholders. So the stakeholders can be your parents.
Mhm.
Communicating the solution to your parents, either they like it or they don't like it, communicating to your community around you, communicating to your mentors, and then communicating to your prospect funders. Very, very important. So that's part of the stakeholders which are important. Then most but not least, last but not least, it's obviously the person you're gonna be giving the product to or the service to. Very, very important to see if that need or that solution will be viable, to the basic needs or challenges of their daily life. So the market is very, very important when it comes to the, to a startup. So going off to the next. So this one is very, what can I say? It's always in people's lips in project management. The plan.
Mhm.
What's the plan? So what's the plan?
Well, what's the plan? What is your plan right now?
So the plan is quite simple. I like it, with our background and interacting with quite a lot of people. Like I said, I started off selling balloons and selling sweets and everything for my mom. We didn't have any formal plan for it, but we knew we wanted to sell this. We didn't write it down on paper. We didn't, pitch it for whoever and all of that. Didn't have formula sheets and all of that, spreadsheets, all those things. But we did. But we did have a plan. So the plan can either be formal or informal. So, however, it's always advisable to have it, formal, have it written down, because the more you write it down, the more you understand it, and the more you are able to challenge it and see if it is going to work. So, informal, I've seen a lot of successful, entrepreneurs in their own scales having informal plans, going through with it, and they say that most of the businesses that make it are those businesses that don't have a plan. They just execute. Those people that are, hungry. Well, I don't know where the stats come from that, but that's what they say at some point. And I've seen it. There are people that go and execute it, And they do have a plan. Like I said, it may not be formal. It's informal. And then, however, if the plan needs to be feasible, it needs to be realistic, and well, that can be challenged as well. Elon Musk's plan is to go to the moon and have us live there. Is that realistic? Is that feasible? Well, we are yet to see that. But according to you, it needs to be realistic and feasible. You need to be able to sell it.
Yes.
So that's what's important. So whether I believe it or not, but to you, it is feasible and it is realistic. How are we going to execute the plan? Very important. And then if you will require funding from capital institution, you will need to have a formal plan to convince your funders, which is very important. So you can't sell, the least that you can do is to have it on paper, unless if you have gone so far that you have got a prototype to show them this is what I am going to do. So, and if it's a service that you've got maybe, what can I say, a track record, and then they can see that, no, this is what's happening. However, if you haven't started anything, a business plan is very, very, very important. All right.
Labels. I'm a spreadsheet. I'm a PowerPoint presentation. I'm a plan.
Yeah. Go on. Zonke wrong.
Zonke bonke, yes. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm at school right now. I feel like I'm missing a notepad and a piece of a pen, and you have to get a chalkboard. I'm learning so much because my brain works is up to something. But it was so important how you said, Kuti, yes, people can talk, people can idealize and ideologies and unpack and da da da, da, but it's about the executors. So thank you for calling me out on my nonsense, as you were, sir.
But as you were saying, we do action words here. We don't have, what did you say? We don't have ideas,
Ideas,
we
we have
have
solutions.
solutions. Yeah. So project management tools to use on startups. So the tools may not be as hard copy as like those three guys there that have a spanner, a hammer, and a screwdriver.
Mm.
So these are the tools that will equip you in your approach. And I did not put much in terms of the soft copy and all of that because these tools you can get them in any platform on the internet. Mostly Google. Google is one of the tools which I'm giving now. So, so Google on itself is a tool to use, and it can allow you to have access to 1,000 many tools, which can help you. So, project plan, that's the first tool. So you can call it a startup plan as well, and then part of your business plan. So a startup plan, how I'd like to see a startup plan to to explain what a startup plan is. Obviously, for the first 0 to 3 years, or maybe your startup will be for first 6 months or so. So it's a gate, it's a window whereby you are trying to set yourself up towards the operational the operational momentum of your business. So you need to have a startup on how you're gonna do that, how you're gonna draw your first customers, how you're gonna market yourself, how you're gonna set up your pricing. So usually the pricing on startup business it's not the same as when you are operational. So your pricing is trying to get as much customers as possible. Your marketing strategies, your what do they call them? Specials. You understand? Maybe it's a car wash. You tell them, okay, come if you come 3 times, the fourth wash is for free. This is a special we're running most of the time. Maybe it's pizzas. Buy one, you get free on a Thursday. You understand? So those are your marketing strategies. So that's mostly on your startup of your business before you while you're introducing your customers to your product or to your service that you offer. So you need to have a plan for that. Very, very important to determine the direction of your project. So then obviously on your plan, you need to define your project, your product, sorry, and your service. And then what makes your deliverable, which is your product or your service, very, very unique, very, very important. You need to define it. You need to understand. It needs to be your part of your DNA.
Is there any? Well, the only unique thing in this world, fingerprints.
No, everything is unique. The time that you're sharing is unique. So
Now
that's
I'm
why
blushing.
project management says,
Okay, everything is unique. Okay, cool.
for the fact that we're doing this, this day at this time of the day, and we're having two different people, talking about whatever we're talking about, it's a unique time, and there's a unique deliverable that we are going to have at the end of the day. You understand? So, and the
You
challenges
win.
that we face now at the moment, it's unique problems. So it makes it a unique.
Professor wins. It's fine.
So that's what you actually learn with project management. So I've been doing quite a few projects in my life, and they may be the same. Possibly we're doing laptops, or I've built power stations, I've built mines, I've built all of that. So it's sometimes it's the same kind of deliverable which we sell into a mine, same solution. But however, the challenges for us to deliver that solution are quite different. So the project always becomes different. It's unique. So that's what you learn. So yeah, that's the story of the defining your product and what it is and what makes it unique, and then identify your market. So in business, obviously, you need to have a window of opportunity, which is very, very important. So I remember when I learned, and obviously you said in the market when you practice business, that in the window of opportunity, there's phases into window of opportunity. You identify it, you take it, you go through the window, and after you go through the window, you maximize, you make sure that you enjoy that window, and then you close that window. So the last step is to close that window of opportunity. So which is very, very important in business. When you identify your market, you have found the corner where you're gonna sell your fat cakes there. You need to find, how my fat cakes are gonna be different, and then how am I gonna maximize on this opportunity, and make sure that I close this window, that this corner that I have, there won't be competition that will, that will not be healthy competition, but competition that may bring it down. So you need to have ideas on how you do that. So that's part of identifying the market. And plan your finances, very, very important. So part of the tools that you do to plan your finances, obviously, you need to look at your return of investment, which is very, very important. Not all of us look at return of investment, and that's a startup. So, for instance, what return of investment is, say I'm going to invest $1,000 into this business. So actually, you actually invest $1,000 into my business. I managed to sell it to you, and you see, man, it's viable. So, but when am I going to get my $1,000? That's what you're going to ask, right? And I say, okay, I look, okay, for me to start up, I need $1,000. So, how much will be my cost during the month? Say $500. Cool. So, and then how much will I be making? Say, yeah, maybe I'll be making $500. You check, okay, this is what's gonna go into the business. This will my cost. This will be the revenue and all those stuff. And then I say, okay, when will I pay you back? They call it pay back period. So I was like, so I'll make back the investment, the return of investment in the next 2 months, if those are the numbers. So and then I'll have the $1,000. So, but that's profit. But that means I still need to, run the business, which will cost me $500. So when will I make, the other money? The $1,000 which I need to pay you. So
isn't the interest on the 1,000 as well? Anyway, it depends.
Well, he's talking like a business person. We'll discuss the interest rate. So those are the things that you need to do. You need to have projections. You need to, be aware. And then if you can see that you're not going to be able to make make an expectation to pay back the money in 2, 3 months and 4 months, you are able to now, okay, so how can I then pay back the money? What solutions do I have? Not ideas, but solutions do I have for me to make this amount of money? That means I need more customers. That means I need to diversify and check my market even more, because this idea is a viable idea and I cannot lose it. It's a window of opportunity that I need to maximize on. So that's finances, and obviously, like I said, do your return on investments, check your revenues, your expenses, and the profits. Very, very important. Those are the tools that you need to do. So as I said on top there, that on the best business plans or the templates can be found on the internet, Google, similar to the type of business idea that you have. So I've used Google so much. Google has made life so very easy. So obviously startups, like I said, most of business people have started quite a number of businesses because they had, can I use this one? Allow me. They had a lot of ideas. Right? So I also had a lot of ideas.
Yes.
So from bakery to a whole lot of things, knitting and all of that.
Yep.
So what Google allows you is you go to Google and say business plan for baking, business plan for this. It will give you a whole lot of templates to use, and you can marry it with whatever you want to do and with your own unique kind. So Google makes life simple. So with all these resources as well, from your return of investments, your profits, what tools you're gonna make. Just for me, go on Google and look for the tool to do your ROI, and then your marketing plan. Plan your marketing. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. Like I said, this will determine whether you are a success or not in terms of your product. The people that you're gonna. These are the number one stakeholders. So we say in project management, your people, your clients. So plan how you're gonna get them into board. How you're gonna sell this idea. So it's very, very important. I cannot stress so much on that. And then plan your resources. So your resources is what you're gonna need. Obviously, chairs. You're gonna need a space. You're gonna need a car, petrol, all of those.
Stationery.
Stationery.
Even the smallest things count.
It counts. It counts. So, and you're gonna need possibly the people that you're gonna work with.
Yes. Social capital.
Social capital. So that's part of resources. So this is also language in project management. We
Oh.
call all of this stuff all in under one package. It's resources. So you plan them, and you plan them as we said. There's long term and there's short term. So the short term is obviously to start. So how many people you are gonna need to start? For instance, it's a car wash.
Mm.
Are you gonna get busy? How busy are you gonna get?
Mm.
So for the first time, or you open up the factory, so you're gonna have 4 employees, and then obviously you're gonna pick up as production goes and as your market goes. So what is your plan of pickup? So you need to plan for the startup and then plan for the operational continuity. So the resources as well, they are very, very important.
Mm.
And then analyze the risk. So this is plan risk management and project management. Analyze your risk. So the more you analyze the risk, the more you make it easier for the startup to become now a full blown project.
Do you
So because-
categorize the risks that you analyze? Apologies.
Yes, there's tools.
Okay.
Funny enough, there's
Okay.
tools. So you do categorize them and put them into. There's actually there's major risk, there's small risk, there's what do you call them? Likely to occur risk. There's minimum.
So varying
Varying
degrees
degrees
of
of risk. So and there's also
Ah.
tools that we use to do that, to try and analyze those risks, and you categorize them, and it will give you their risk factors. And upon the risk factors, and these as well, like I said, they need to be very tailored according to your needs. So it's very, very. I like Google, gents. It's very important. You just Google. You say risk analysis tool, and then for this, that, instead of taking 3 weeks, 4 weeks trying to make up your own spreadsheet or your own tool. So it will. Google helps quite a lot. So
Are
there
they
is
paying
tools.
you? They need to pay you for this. You
Nah,
mentioned
they-
the word Google like 51 times.
yeah.
How much could you have made if they paid you for each time? Anyway, I digress. All I'm saying, entrepreneur here, all I'm saying. Okay.
All right, cool, guys. Hi, Google. Okay, cool. So all these plans that we are gonna have now as a startup, this will act as gauges to to our startup business. So you're gonna always, check according to your costs. This is what I've planned. This is what I'm having. Your risks. Yes, when this risk comes, this is what I planned. How I am going to deal with this risk, and then I've put away this much amount of money for me to, mitigate or even to take this risk away. And then your finances, the marketing. Okay, I've planned this. Well, in terms of marketing, it's very, very important that you also look at the area that you are at and the people that are there. So you understand, okay, I've planned this area and these are these are the customers that I'm foreseeing to attract. And then what am I doing? Why am I not? Or why am I? What's the impact on these people? This geographical area. What's their response? So the more you make your plan, put it down on paper, is the more you are able, to gauge yourself. So like I said, I'm head of planning where I do. So my job mostly, I'm more like the navigator or the gauges on your car. So so I tell you how fast we're going. How's your temperature in your engine. Whether your revs and all your revs in your engine. So each time. So like the navigator, when you take a right turn, it tells you 10 right, 10 left. So 10 what. So and you are planning the route as the business person. Saying the plan becomes your navigation route. So it doesn't mean that you are gonna follow it all the time. You're gonna see that maybe I can use that route. But it is always has your destination and it will always keep you in track to where you are going. So it's very, very important that you have all these plans put together as a navigator. It makes life easier. Listening to the navigating lady say 10 left. No, you have made the wrong turn. Now
Yes.
make a U-turn.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
what the plan
yes,
does.
yes. At
There
the
you go.
roundabout. What is a roundabout? Anyway.
And I like your voice. You should also audition to be a navigation lady.
Totally. Yeah, have a black
Maybe
voice.
it's
Would be
Zulu.
lovely. Oh God, Jay.
Yeah, but
Kulo mgwaqo olandelayo. Okay. Please
That would be
proceed.
nice.
You see, I told you his professor is a bit crazy.
That's a business idea. We should look at startup on that.
Are you serious
Yeah,
right
we
now?
record all of that, and then we patent, and then we do it all of that, and then when they start doing all our languages, we have it.
Okay, there we go. We'll chat after that.
Or is that an idea
No,
or a solution?
a solution.
Oh,
A solution to our language barrier problem.
yeah.
A lot of people have been marginalized by the digital economy and language. So, kungcono mangabe sikwazi ukuthi sikhulumisane ngolwimi lethu.
This is why.
Sizwane. There we go. You see, there we go. Even in the lifts, even at the tellers. You see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool. Now, one of also the most important parts is the execution. Right. So, what I've written there on the execution is to materialize and get the project on the road. So, what project we're talking about? Obviously, it is the startup. So, what do we do? So, the first one which I have there is to run prototypes. Well, it shouldn't have been the first one, but I felt it was very important to stress on that. Our service is clearly realized. So it's iterative. It's an iterative process whereby the service or the product is clearly realized. So prototypes are, for instance, I'm selling muffins. So I've got the ingredients, right? And but however, I still need to work on that secret ingredient, that final ingredient, that KFC kind of touch ingredient, that they have there, that makes them KFC. You understand? So you keep on doing what do you call it? You keep on baking time and time and again, and then have that prototype that you have that you are able to sell to your potential investors and to your stakeholders around you, which are very important, maybe your parents, your partner, your friends and family, whoever is there. So to have that prototype is quite important. So it makes that idea, which is a solution, real, tangible, and people can buy into it. So that's why I say I believe it is very important to have a prototype. And then patent the idea or the solution. So patent is very important. It's one of the things which we don't that we take lightly because in each and every idea, in each and every project, in each and every startup or solution, there is an element of originality there. So we need to look at the element of originality. Just put it in there. It's very, very important, guys. That element of originality, and then we patent it. And it is a process, and you can Google how to patent things, but patenting is also the tool that we require in businesses. It makes it real. It makes it what do you call it? You identify it. You identify with it as a person. So patenting is very important in startups. Very, very important because usually startups get eaten by big sharks. You know how the industry is. So for you not to be eaten by the big shark and they just eat you without, giving you anything, you need to have that idea patented and register the business as well, have the name PTY Ltd, whatever it is. Very, very important.
Hashtag, please call me. Moving along.
We're here with solutions, right? So register with professional bodies. Also very important. Those people can mentor you and they can show you what is out there in their business, which you might maybe take 3 years to find out on your own. But however, if you mingle with the right people, the right time, and with the professional bodies in the space that you are able, to expose yourself to what the business world is. So, for instance, the CIBD for your construction, CSD, CESA, that's your consultation bodies in the professional world of engineering. And then open a bank account, very important. Very, very important. So money
What
counts.
bank would you? No, I'm joking. Now you're gonna be thinking for a particular bank. I was gonna say, what bank would you suggest? No, man.
Google.
Google.
Yeah, Google
The bank of Google.
Google the bank.
There are a lot of investments in there. There's a lot of money. There's a wealth of information.
Yeah. So so and then soliciting funding. So pitching the idea to potential funders. Very, very important. So that's what we need to do. Solicit. So part of soliciting the funding is selling the idea to someone.
Mm.
So the person buys the idea with their investment. So which is very 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 important. So if you cannot sell that idea, by selling it to potential funders,
Mm.
what convinces the next person to sell to buy the solution? So this is a very important stage in the
Mm.
startup of your
Mm.
business. And then obviously set up your operations. So your office, your tools, your system, your resources. So that setup is quite important. So yeah, I think I've spoken quite a lot. How much time do I still have?
You've got 6 minutes.
6 minutes to do. Quite cool, eh?
These are the last 6 minutes of the festival. Please
last
make
6
sure
minutes of
that
the festival.
they are worth it, that you are remembered.
Quite cool.
No pressure. No pressure.
So there's another step in project management. We call it the monitor and improve. Monitoring and improvement. Very, very important. Like I said, the gauges that we have on our clusters, they keep on monitoring, what's happening with the state of the car
Mm.
and what's happening at the state of your startup
Mhm.
and what you need to do to improve. Maybe you need to stop at the garage and add water on your car, or you're missing quite a few, your oil or your brake pads are not functioning quite well. You need to fix that. So monitoring and improving where you are at the stage of your startup. So you have already kick started. You do have the furniture. You do have the people. You are starting to market your business. So how do I check, how I'm doing on my business? Very important. That's where, like I said, the plans will act as gauges. So you get feedback. So you set up a feedback mechanism that allows you to do your continuous improvement and your iterations.
Mm.
So it's very, very important that you get feedback. Very, very important. And the banks and all the major corporations have, outsourced that. What is it, man? They've outsourced, people that are paying people for them to get feedbacks on how maybe Standard Bank is doing, how is Monocom, how is Celsi doing, are you getting all of that? So it's very important so that they can tailor whatever service or product to what the people want. And it's very, very important that you get feedback. So you need to find a way of doing feedbacks. So there's quite a few companies that do that, and or you can find quite simple way. You go to your customers and ask them, "Do you like this? Do you do this?" So restaurants thrive on that because it's part of the what can I call it? It's part of their service. Customer satisfaction is very very important. So improve your running systems. Find out where you can maximize on costs, time, and gauge it against the plan. So that's very very important in terms of your monitoring and improvement. Then improve your stakeholder engagement. Get feedback from your investors as well. And give them feedback. Actually, that's very very important. You need to get and give feedback to your investors, which is very important. So to have that trust in them, in that relationship, and for them maybe to invest even further more into your project. So I think quite now close out of the project. This is the last and very important one.
Okay.
So how do we close out?
We're focused.
Are we still there?
We are still here.
Cool. So obviously the project or the startup can be either a success or a failure. So obviously we don't like failure, we like success.
We
Because
do.
we are successful people all the time.
We do like failure. I mean, we do like failure. We do like success, but the reality is that it doesn't always come out that way. However, when failure does happen and we try to find other ways to navigate and see it as a success, then it becomes a success. But we all want success, but sometimes it comes in other ways, angles, and it comes across as failure.
I
You know
like
when they
the
say
way you say
blessing in disguise, nan. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Angle.
the way you say it. So what they say is what obviously I've gathered up in terms of my research is that if it is success, obviously setting up and you need to kick in operations plan. It should be part of the business plan, however, it may be improved. So how are you going to operate now in your business? For instance, like we alluded on that example of starting up a car wash. So you started with 2 people. Okay, now I'm on 50 cars. We can manage with 2 people. So, but my plan is to obviously have per month to be running about 1,000 cars in a month. So, but on a startup, we'll be looking at say 50 cars, and then it's gonna improve up until to 500 cars, and then 50 cars. So now we should be, keeping the operations plan whereby we need to have 1,000 cars to be washed. So plan for that, the people that we're going to, employ and all of that. So that operations plan needs to kick in with obviously maintenance and all those things. Very, very important. And then this is drawn from customer satisfaction as well, lessons learned, and for us to improve on your startup, you need to always, gauging how your customer is reacting towards your product or your service, and then obviously tailor your operations towards, the goods and the bad response that you get from them. And then the success of the project is gauged against the project plan, as I've said, constraints, i.e., cost, the quality deliverables, customer satisfaction, very, very important. So we always need to gauge where we are. And if obviously it's a failure, then draft the failure report. That's what we do in project management. So not all projects are successes. So why do we need to draft a failure report? It's very, very important for future reference and stakeholder communication. And future reference, most entrepreneurs, we've had so many entrepreneurial talks. Besides so many entrepreneurial talks, we've started so many businesses. I know myself as an entrepreneur. I've registered a couple of businesses, started the business. Most of them they failed. Some of them have succeeded. They are a success. Some of them, but I picked up from the businesses that have failed and took what I could salvage out of the fire, out of the failure, and then build up whatever that I have at the moment. So it's very, very important. Whatever business venture that we have, we need to sit down and look and assess how we failed, how we could have done better, and then where did we have success, where we've done very good, and then take all of that and then build up from it and then carry on forward. Because I believe that entrepreneurs have entrepreneurial spirit. It's in them. They do not just wake up in the morning and say, maybe I could do this. I think there's that fire. They're always gonna want to come up with new solutions. So, and then the failure is very important for the approach of the next new solution that might be a success. So it's very, very important that we do a failure report and analyze the situation of what we are. So all of this, it's my presentation, what I've done is in a project management structure.
Yes.
So exactly that. So in startups, this is how I would, recommend to approaching it in project management. So and the tools that I've discussed with you. So hopefully it does work, and hopefully it does, bring a different perspective to startups and to entrepreneurs that are there, and to project managers that are there in startups, whether in different fields, whether it's the IT, whether I try to make it as generic as possible. I come from the construction world, and project management, it's very, very, how can I say, direct. We use the waterfall, process. There's other processes which are there, the agile. There's other processes in project management.
Hey, agile, you are now
and all of
waterfall.
that for different that. So, but these are very, very basic, and hopefully they work, and hopefully we are excited as this is a festival.
It's a festival. It's a very sad time, but I've got one question for you. Is that what one characteristic will be the death of you, not you, but the death of someone who wants to be an entrepreneur? What's that one characteristic? If you want to be an entrepreneur, you shouldn't. It
Well,
won't work for you.
I would say being persuasive, being driven as well. You need to be always persuasive. If you are not persuasive, if you don't believe, if you do not realize it and believe in whatever you are selling, and then I think that will be the death of you, because cannot be as creative as anyone else is. For instance, I made an example with what's his name again?
Jobs.
Steve Jobs. You know, he was not that creative in naming his product Apple. He just had a song from the Beatles and decided to tell his friend that, nah, there's no. So he took that, and then now Apple is so good. But however, he was so persuasive. He was pushing. He was reluctant. What do you call it?
Relentless.
In his approach. So I think that's what changes the world. So because entrepreneurs are game changers, and for you to convince other people, you know, already the world is moving at its own momentum towards its own direction. So you want to change it. You need to be, you know, relentless and persuasive. If you're not, and then I think that's one thing that will kill entrepreneurs. And obviously, that will be determined in startups. Your next 0 to 3 years, startups very, 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 very important.
Okay, noted. I know I said one last. Okay, I promise this is the last question. How would you, Mr. Quinton, like to be remembered? If you drop down, right now, gone.
How would I like to be remembered? Well, I'd like to be remembered as a person who enjoyed life. The person who enabled other people to enjoy life when he was around him. So I'd like to be a person who also had solutions and not only ideas but solutions. And I'd like to be enjoyed as I don't know. I think my friends should answer that one as well. Because I don't know.
No. Like you said, you like enjoy life and other people to enjoy life. And I've also enjoyed having you here, enjoyed your company. At other times, I felt uneducated. I was like, the what? But now I get it. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for putting this together, for managing this particular project, going beautifully with the theme and showcasing some of your work. Like it's really amazing. And like, what a way to end this thing. This entire, like, it was just as only festival. You know, one of those grannies. Like, you were like this. I'm like, anyway, look at you. You've grown now. Yes, that's exactly what the festival was like on the 1st of November. It was like this little, you know, and now it's like, whoa. Sekulili Festi.
Yeah.
No, okay, he's crazy. The professor's crazy. No, but on the real though, I don't know why I'm getting emotional.
It's the end. It's a beginning as well.
It's a beginning.
We're gonna get feedback. Obviously, we need feedback.
Yes,
very, very important. This project is about to go, so obviously, you need to
it's gonna be annual.
Follow up.
It's gonna be annual.
You know?
It's gonna be annual. We're gonna be looking at all things entrepreneurship. And by the way, and I keep telling this to Mr. Like, who's the CEO of ICRD Group and the Business Clinic, that the way in which we incorporated these four. So, as I had said at the beginning, that, you know, in the spirit of celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week, yay, we took it to 4 weeks. But this is what we did. So, it's entrepreneurship because I need to, entrepreneurship and business is always interchangeable and it's always seen in one light. But we segmented the different types of entrepreneurship, such as social entrepreneurship, such as cultural entrepreneurship, economic entrepreneurship, and what else? Environmental entrepreneurship, all against the backdrop of technology. I mean, this is the word.
Technology.
No, this is the word. Here we are, pioneers, because we have set standard, the level, putting all these things together. Do I need to patent this? Do I need to patent this? Entrepreneurs. We're entrepreneurs, the first kind in South Africa to be done, incorporating all four touch points and elements of entrepreneurial sustainability against the backdrop of 4IR, plugging into the digital economy. I mean, really, the adverse effect of the COVID pandemic, we all know. But you know what? 4IR, that's where we're moving into. And I believe that this has been powerful, and in itself, utilizing a digital space is quite poetic, actually. It does what it wants to do to others. I don't know if you get me. But also in the same way, this fest is the first time ever had this fest. So this fest is a startup fest in itself. So it's living exactly what it's trying to teach other people to do. So we are studying up actually as well. Sakana. You get what I'm saying? It's so poetic. Sorry, I'm a huge
Poet.
I'm not a huge poet. I just it's so no analogies and symbols and it's so beautiful. But anyway, I digress. I went that way. We were all going that way. I just went that way. Yeah. So it's been hey. I mean, how I'm trying to wrap this up in one. It's been
Fantastic, phenomenal,
it's been
extravagant.
Yes. More words. My vocab is very limited at this point for some arbitrary reason. I'm quite discombobulated. So no, but for real though, it's been amazing. It's been fantastic. It's been real. It's been real. It's been real. Lot of learning curves, a lot of learning opportunities. I mean, wow, we've had so many amazing speakers who have been part of this vision, who see where we are going with this and who understand what needs to be known and what needs to be shared. That's what it's about. Breaking bread, guys. Breaking bread. Abanye bazona jam, abanye peanut butter, abanye angazi ke bana gluten free. Phela sesingama gluten free manje. And that's perfectly fine. But anyway, this is what I love. It's about our community of Ubuntu, particularly looking at Black entrepreneurs. And I'm so unapologetic about saying that in the sense that it's not about overcorrecting anything. It's about realizing and recognizing the reality, the problem. Yeah. We don't call problems here, we say challenges. The challenge and bringing in the solution. Let's call it what it is exactly. The displacement and all of that. So I, as a Black woman, celebrating 16 days of activism as a Black woman, I am very empowered by this entire festival. And yes, curating it has been. I curated it. No, but on the real, God is amazing. They say that God does not call the qualified; He qualifies the called. He does that, and I love that. And I've been absolutely grateful and gracious and what have you not. For today, I don't know if you'll be able to share with us, TVC, your slide, and then we can post it on our website a bit later. Is that perfectly
It's fine. I can share it and everything here. Obviously, I haven't done my good job of referencing most of the stuff that's in here. Right? So, but let me just do the referencing and I'll share it with you.
No, perfectly fine. We're not dying. We're still gonna be here tomorrow. Well, not here, but you just don't stress. Now you see BPs like Joe. You'll send it when you are ready, and I trust you will. Okay, fam. But on the real though, I just want to say thank you to the business clinic, to the ICRD group, and when I say the business clinic, I'm mentioning everyone by name. I'm saying Tata Sinclair, thank you so much. Sichaba, thank you. Trotliso, Mpo, Gift, Bongs, Musa. I feel like there's a huge team behind all of this craziness. Chantel,
I think you're forgetting Lucky.
Jade, Cindy. Don't count yourself out. And of course, Mr. Lucky, thank you so much, everyone, for bringing this together. It's been crazy, but it's been crazy fun and just a great learning experience. So, with that said, Mr. Quinton, thank you so much. Ended it with a bang.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this platform. And thank you for your reception. Thank you.
Reception? Okay. You're not sure kaibambila, but it's fine.
Hi, my name is Lucky Diteru. I'm an entrepreneur, strategist, and investor, the founder of ICRD Group, the company behind the 4IR Aquatech Accelerator Program. In 2018, when South Africa celebrated Nelson Mandela's centenary, as a company, we sat down to say, how can we celebrate this amazing milestone in our country's history? And we decided to develop and conceptualize the 4IR Aquatech Accelerator, a sector-specific program that seeks to fast-track sustainable solutions to Africa's pressing water, food, and energy nexus challenges. Annually, we invite solutions across the four corners of our country to participate in this awesome program that seeks to identify, support, fund, and upscale a new generation of data-driven solutions to water, food, and energy nexus challenges. Join us in building sustainable strategies for Africa's rural and urban communities. Thank you.